Good afternoon now. It's 1 o'clock. I'm here with Tom Deacon. Hello, folks. My name is CRG Geo, and welcome to the CRG Debrief, a very exciting show in prospect. And I cannot wait to bring this one to you. It's going to be a really intriguing interview. And there's the man himself right next to me, F1 esports extraordinaire, Tom Deacon, folks. Yes. Oof.
Going to be doing the virtual Grand Prix, so I'm looking forward to hosting that.
Yeah, I do apologise, Tom. I don't think people could hear you then, but I've put the headphones on, so now people can. So it's all good, guys. All good. So just say hi again, Tom.
Anything.
No, right. Repeat again for the good people.
No, I refuse. I never repeat myself. Never. That's my only rule in life: is never repeat myself. Basically, I said, "Welcome to my lounge."
Yeah.
Here's where I will occasionally be hosting for Overtake, which is based in Germany. I've been here, and then obviously, as people may have seen, doing the virtual Grand Prix and ending a thrilling F1 Esports Pro Series 2020, where the one and only Mr. Jarno Opmeer, who I believe you, George, predicted was going to win it, and he did. So congratulations to you and to Jarno and everyone else that took part.
Oh, it was a tremendous event, though, Tom. I mean, we were so lucky to see the racing and the action unfold the way we did, and we will obviously branch into that as well as we go through. But it just seems to get better year on year, and I put it down to just the increasing quality. I think now that we're sort of moving further deeper inwards to season upon season, you start to see the development of certain drivers, new ones coming in. And it just seems that the standards keep on rising, which is tremendous to see, really. But I want to...
I was pointing at myself to say, you're welcome. Thank you very much. I've been putting a lot more effort in. I've been learning my lines better. I've been making sure I can hear the production behind. That always helps a live show. So I've been doing my part, but people won't have noticed that, George. They just won't have.
Well, we'll lift the lid on that, Tom. We will lift the lid on that, of course. Absolutely, it's tremendous the way it's gone. But I can see we've already got quite a few people in the chat now, so it's going to hopefully rocket upwards now. But I think I want to draw it back, Tom, to obviously early life and where you got started, because I always find that's a good foundation into where we will lead this interview. But I want to know, where did Tom Deacon? What made Tom Deacon who he is today? I mean, I want to know where did it all start? Talk to me about school life, moving into university. Because I know you went to university and you studied drama. Am I quite right there?
Someone has done their research, and I respect that very much. So, yes, I did.
Yeah.
It's one of those big questions of where did it all begin? But I guess how did I get to be hosting F1 Esports, the Pro Series, from the beginning when we first had the final in Abu Dhabi, which is insane, and Brendan Lee won? Where did that come? I guess that was never really on my radar back when I was at school. The first thing for me is I knew that I wanted to do stand-up comedy. That was my love. I just wanted to do it. All my mates at school were like, well, that's going to be difficult for you because you're not funny. And that's hard to take, but I got better at it. I worked on it. Went to college, knew I liked drama, I liked studying history, things like that. And then it wasn't until uni, when I went to Exeter, I was like, oh, I really like drama. I'll carry on doing that. And they had a comedy club in the heart of Exeter, and I started to go along to perform. And I knew that and then I kind of managed to go in and do some presenting, and I kind of was able to be comedic or be, I don't know, upbeat, energetic, etc., that you sometimes need for presenting. And it kind of like led from there. And I thought, oh, actually, I really enjoy that. But I knew, hand on heart, I wanted to do stand-up comedy. So when I left university, I went to London, gave myself a year working in a hotel, early starts, late finishes, then going straight to a comedy gig, trying to get noticed. And eventually I did, and won a competition. And it's really weird. It's like what I was trying to say at the beginning is I never thought, I don't suppose many people did all those years ago, F1 esports, there's going to be something. There's an esports is going to grow and be where it is right now. But I knew that I loved having a laugh, getting to know people and presenting. And I kind of think now what I do with hosting the show is I can bring that out a little bit. I try to find out about the drivers, much harder now that they're miles away and not in the studio. But that's what I kind of do. So I suppose it's all come together to be at this point now. using those skills that I guess I've learned from doing stand-up comedy and getting to know people and presenting.
No, absolutely. I just it's an amazing rise and obviously an incredible journey. I mean, just getting noticed and sort of trying to get yourself into the spotlight for your comedy. It's sort of I feel like I can empathise in a way because I was in a rock band years ago. 7 years I was in this band. We played the O2 Academy 3 times, headlined it the once at Birmingham, which was unreal. We toured 3 times, etc., but never quite got to the spot where you would get picked up by a label. We did have representation, but it wasn't anything in the like of a Sony or an Interscope or anything like that. But we were sort of like an independent band as such. So I can totally empathise having to travel, doing all your gigs, working for a living as well to put food on the table, etc. I find that.
Yep.
Incredible, and obviously 100% empathize with you on that. But you actually made it, which is great, and obviously you went on to work on with so many people. I think I read Rob Brydon as well, somewhere in there.
The Welsh connection. Well, here's the thing. I tried to be as vague and not like bullet point of all the things I've managed to do. But you're right. I knew that when I was at university, I love stand-up comedy. Let's see what happens. That's all you can do. When you're in your band, you're like, let's just take it. Let's take these opportunities as and when they come along. So I left there, went straight to London, working the long shifts in a hotel, loved it. I'd be getting the till roll, like on a till, you press it. So you just get the paper out and I'd be jotting ideas. Oh, that'd be quite funny. What if I did this? And I was always thinking stand-up's what I want to do. And then all of a sudden I got an opportunity. Hey, Tom, we'd like you to go along and do an audition for a presenting job. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I want to do stand-up comedy. That's all I want to do. And then this opportunity came along. I think it was Jack Whitehall, Simon Bird from the Inbetweeners had also gone for it. And I managed to get it. I don't know what they're doing in their life. I don't think either of those are very successful guys.
Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And so I started working for the BBC. And it was, I think, if anything, you learn, you got to say, this is what I want. Let's see where this takes me. And when opportunities come along, you say, all right, you've got a yes or no. Do I do it or do I not? And I went along on another presenting path. That led to Radio 1. That led to getting noticed by someone to do Copper 90, the Eurofan. It's just, I think it snowballs. Once you put yourself out there, the fear of failure shouldn't stop you from just going for it and seeing what happens, And that's the beauty. I think that's the lesson. You get knockbacks all the time. You got to learn from those mistakes and then, get up again. I think that's the beautiful thing. And that's what I've noticed with the F1 esports drivers, the pro drivers. They get a knockback. They have to come back stronger. And that's just a lesson of life.
Oh, it's true in the real context of F1. And I say it nowadays, it's a crime that Nico Hulkenberg isn't in a seat. At the moment, it's honestly, and the guys, I know a lot of the people who watch my streams know, because I talk about Nico all the time, and I think what a talented individual who should be in an F1 seat for next year.
What was it? Was it P18? He started off and then just managed to get in the points, and you're just like, how have you incredible? And with not the setup time, all of the practice, it's just like, Nico, we need you. Yeah, sure, I'll get some points for you. Unbelievable.
Well, bear in mind, he only competed in 1 or 2 races, yet still managed to accrue more points than what Williams did throughout an entire season, which is. We won't go there, but we won't go there. But Nico is a tremendous asset to any team in my book. But Nico, I hope you get a seat someday, my friend. But honestly, just again, I know we speak about the whole Radio 1 thing and all that. I think that's tremendous too, because if I'm right in saying you took over from Nick Grimshaw and Annie Mac, is that correct?
Well, what it was BBC Switch. Was on a Sunday night. So you had Kelly Osbourne. Yeah, it must have been Kelly Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne's daughter was doing a show. Nick Grimshaw and Annie Mac had a show. And I think I just got pushed a little earlier. So straight after the chart show with Reggie Yates, it would come across to me and I was doing the show that I was already presenting, moved on to radio. And the whole idea was, let's get younger people listening to radio. That's the BBC's biggest thing. How do we get younger people listening? And so I was thrust in there straight away, a 2-hour show every Sunday night, 7 till 9. Had I done any radio before? Good question, George. No. Was I terrified? Yes. What is it like is unbelievable when you pull up a fader. Scott Mills taught me how to drive the desk. It was a 15-minute crash course. Best of luck, he said. and turning up the fader, knowing you're speaking to millions of people, was
I
terrifying.
can
And
imagine.
yeah, and I learned a lot from it. Like, was I the
Mm.
best presenter? No. Did I enjoy the opportunity? Yeah, 100%. If I was to do it again now, I'd do it very differently. But I was thrust in that, took my opportunity, and I'm very grateful for it. But yeah, and it's a learning curve, like dealing with the abuse you get on the text that comes in. Who is this? What? This is the worst presenter I've ever heard in my life. And I'm like, hi guys. And every time you turn up the fade, there's that nerves. But you have to have those setbacks. You have to
Yeah.
have them and learn from them. So terrifying, though, genuinely terrifying, knowing that millions of people are listening to your voice is very odd.
I'd imagine though after the first time, I suppose it's like that saying, whatever doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. You do that first
Yeah.
show, and you come out fighting. Then you're more experienced with it. You know what to expect, and you can almost throw caution to the wind if you like, and sort of just go for it, just run
Yeah.
with the ball essentially. So how long were you at Radio 1 for? You
It's
still.
about 2.5 years. The first day, my first ever show going live, because I'd done a couple of pilots. It wasn't as if they just said, "We'll have you. You come along. We'll take you." I was, I had to do some demos, and a lot of the demos I did were me being a bit more me, bit more of the stand-up comedy, a bit cheekier. But they wanted the show that I was presenting for, which is a teen show, so they wanted me to rein that back in, talk about Glee, talk about stuff that didn't come naturally. So kind of, I guess, learning how to be what they needed of me, which was very odd. But the day that I was doing my first show was when Southampton Football Club, who was my team, were in the Johnston Paint Trophy at Wembley. And I could have had a ticket to go to Wembley and watch us win a trophy. And I was a bit
Wow.
miffed. I was like, oh, I've got to do a
Oh.
Radio 1 show, but I want to go and see my team play. So I just remember that was my first day. And then last day, I would actually begun to do a stand-up comedy show. Really, we're having stand-up guests in, to like Catherine Ryan, and Craig Campbell, some really great names, Matt Richardson. They all came on a Wednesday night, and that was my last show. And that was a brutal way of being let go, which I imagine like F1 drivers like Nico Hulkenberg, everyone's gone through. You go into a meeting thinking they're going to offer you something else, and the boss just said, "Yeah, thanks a lot for everything. Best of luck. We'll be in touch." And I'm still waiting for that call. Brutal.
It's almost emotionless, isn't it? You sort of I watch Drive to Survive, and watching some of the responses from some of the drivers when they get let go. It's almost like they're immune to it. They sort of turn around. Oh yeah, I'm not getting a seat next season, but you're like I'm terribly gutted. It's like a dagger through the heart type thing, But wow,
it is. Because the thing is, it's so swift. I went in and they were asking, "How's Copper 90? How's the Eurofan?" "Oh, really excited about the Eurofan. Lots of people are liking it. It's brilliant." "Well, that's great. Well, anyway, listen, Tom, thank you very much. We'll be in touch." And I left the building going, "They're going to be in touch." So I didn't even know that I'd been cut.
No, never.
There's no card, there's no nothing, there's no tidy up the box. You don't even sometimes get to breathe in and go, this is me leaving. I left thinking, well, I've got a meeting. I'm meeting my mate for a coffee in a minute. So, but I'll be back. And then I haven't been back since. So I think if there was a lesson from that is, hey, it's purely business, but just while you're doing something, enjoy it as much as you can. And that's a lesson I have to remind myself, even with the virtual Grand Prix, which I'm going to tonight. My girlfriend says that every time I get home, I'm like, I could have done this. I could have said that better. I could have done that. And then you realize, like, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it, because it might not be there tomorrow.
No, absolutely. You'll just keep hold of every opportunity and run with it. No, I totally agree with you, 100%. And obviously now we're sort of bringing in the whole F1 factor now. And I obviously want to look at that first championship because it was iconic. I remember the first time I watched anything to do with F1 esports, it was a YouTube video, obviously the grand final. You had Brendan Lee, Sven Zerner, Fabrizio Donoso, Delgado, all fighting at Yas Marina for that championship. And the title was on the line in that race. You couldn't write a better finish, could you, really? I mean, the drama throughout that race was incredible. And you're wagging the Brendan finger. Brilliant. Incredible though, isn't it, Tommy? What a statement to make. Yas Marina, and you're at the circuit presenting the event. Incredible.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Here's the magic of it. My face may have said I was calm and collected, but I was terrified of the whole event. And I remember just thinking about, when you said, "Oh, would you like to come in and chat?" I was like, "Of course. I'm a big fan of your work, George." And and I was thinking, oh yeah, what did happen at Abu Dhabi? It's almost because it goes like life goes in a blur. I was thinking, oh yeah, before we'd even gone there, I remember Marcel Kiefer in the Gfinity studio coming up to me, adamant that he should have been going through. He thought he'd got a point when he hadn't got a point, and it was a bit of a pandemonium. It had never been done before. Brendan Lee, I think he was in the wet at Silverstone and just zips on through, and there was controversies. It was all kicking off backstage with all these drivers. Marcel was like, I should be going through. And I'm like, I don't know, mate. I don't know. The cameras are finished. The sweat's dripping off me. We're just trying to make a brilliant show to showcase the talent that's out there. And then when we went to Abu Dhabi, I walked around I'm in one of the villas kind of next to the circuit. I can't believe it. You've got all these pro drivers who've got there who are thinking, this is the life. What an amazing opportunity. And that's the pressure that was on me. I was like, please be a good show. Please be a good show. Because if we get it right, we'll come back next year. And the amount of conversations I had with the drivers, and they're like, oh, this isn't right. This isn't working. And I'm like, guys, let's get on board. If we do a good job, we'll be back next year. And the relief, and then the fact at one point in my ear, the production's like, oh, by the way, Tom, Fernando Alonso's coming up. If you could just do an interview with Fernando Alonso. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, you could, the pressure, but the relief, and the fact that Brendan Lee stepped up, and it pans to me, and just Brendan, I won't say exactly what he said, but roughly he said, this is what it's like to be a winner. And it was just a beautiful moment. I was like chuffed for him to win, and knowing that fingers crossed, if we've done a good enough job, we'll be back next year. And hey, we're looking at season 5 later on in 2021. So I feel like we did a good job.
Oh, without question. I think it was obviously a huge, certainly a huge occasion, and great that Brendan Lee won it as well. Obviously, he made his name in league racing prior to that as well. He was very highly respected in terms of being an Apex Online Racing multiple champion, and he brought it to the table certainly in F1 eSport, and that was even before I started commentating, which was insane. But since then, he became a double world champion then the following year, and solidified his championship and his legacy, should we say, as to being one of the greats. And which is great, because obviously we've had Lewis Hamilton, British world champion, and then you've got Brendan Lee, British esports world champion, which is tremendous for the nation of Britain in a sense. And again, a testament to the guy's quality as well. I mean, what was the process like, sort of moving into the Gfinity arena proper then? It was pretty much all about the Gfinity arena after that. Was it a case that you had to sort of get used to new areas? Because I think you were still broadcasting there in some way, shape or form, weren't you previously?
Yeah, it was, the Gfinity arena was created to be an esports multiple use venue that you could have any event on. So we had the Gfinity Elite Series, which was Rocket League, it was CSGO, Counter-Strike, and it was also Street Fighter 5. And then they swapped out Counter-Strike. As much as I missed it, they were long shows to film, because they sometimes oh, it's the reverse sweep, oh, they're coming back into the game, they were 10 games up and now it's 11-10, and all the camera guys were like, we've been here all day, it's mad. So they swapped it out for FIFA, which was just as long in many respects. So that was going on, and that's how it came about. Gfinity said to me, well, look, I think Channel 4 we're talking about one particular host coming on board, and they said, we probably can't afford him, so Tom, will you do it? And I was like, yes, I will do it. I would love to. For a lot less money, and not, it wasn't even about the money. It was like, I want to do this. It sounds amazing. Season 2 was also bigger, because the actual F1 teams came on board and said, oh, we'll have a team championship as well. So the only team that didn't join were Ferrari, which they did in 2019. So it was like, look, we've started here. Brendan's won it. He's going through his own personal development. Like, how good can this exposure be just for mental well-being, people coming out of their shells a bit, finding out who they are, finding a voice. And then you add in the F1 teams joining. It was like, this is getting bigger, which I think you said earlier, it got bigger each year. So it was, again, nerve-wracking. All the rigs are in the studio again. And yeah, we had a draft as well. So choosing drivers to come and join which was another layer, another added bit. Pressure was still there, George, but I felt like we were finding our feet.
Oh no, absolutely. And looking at Brendan's rise and Ferrari joining, it was almost like you say, that one step-by-step progression, which is brilliant. The draft show, which I still find extremely thrilling. I think it's absolutely brilliant that was incorporated as well, and again provides more content just to build up the suspension for the championship, which is absolutely brilliant to see. Obviously, then moving forwards, then we had a new champion, then David Tonizza in Ferrari as well, which was. Again, a stupendous performance. He was absolutely unreal that year, wasn't he? You just relentless, just picking win after win. And Brendan just seemed to slip away. Just didn't quite find the form that he had the season and the season previous that he had at the time. So it's a bit of a shame to see that. But Tonizza's rise was incredible, wasn't it?
Good old Tonzilla, and the fact he didn't get selected in the draft the previous year, if I'm not mistaken. Because Tino was the first ever drafted driver and we knew he was already good, but like, okay, this guy's got an opportunity. So for Ferrari to make the best pick they possibly could in the draft, their first pick, they go for David. Amazing. And I think it was the shock, like, damn, this guy's good, but can he sustain it for the whole season? And he did. And everyone was like, we love him. And the fact he had his little T-Rex next to him, he had a bit of character. He had a bit of something about him. And I love that whole team that were driving, Gianfranco Gigololi, who I love, and Amos Lorito. They were just a brilliant team, and they were fun to have around. And people won't have seen it, but they kind of will have done because Rosanna Tennant was backstage. But you had all the teams like huddled together. And if you think the politics in F1, the real life F1, is up there, the politics that would go on after the show, like this point, like they all had to write down what their problems and issues were with that race, and then it would go to the appeals. It was a little bit spicy at times, but it was competitive, and that was brilliant to see. So for David to win it, we did lose a bit of a character in Olli Pakola, who's one of my favorite drivers. But yeah, David coming in and showing what he's made of. And then that leads another storyline for 2020 when you're like, well, can Brendan Lee come back and win his title again? And as we found out, no, it was the guy that you picked, Jarno Opmeer, who apparently Matt Gallagher I know he did, called him a hot lapper. Just goes to show that it's just brilliant each year.
A little story to tell you about that, because Matt Gallagher, of course, so I watched the show and he called him the hot lapper, and I remember it was myself and Jack Canan, my usual co-com, who joins me, and unfortunately he couldn't be here today. Usually he does the debrief with me, but he's travelling back from Germany on his because he usually teaches English over there. Irishman teaching English. Unbelievable, but yeah, but yeah, we were taking an ORL race at the time, and Jarno won one of the ORL races, and so I came back and I thought it'd be quite funny, go into the interview room, and I said, "Oh, Jarno, well done, hot lapper once again." Also, I called him a hot lapper, and he said, "Don't ever call me that again." I was like, sorry. It wasn't me, it was Matty G.
You wouldn't argue with Jarno as well.
No,
you don't argue with Jarno. Some of the
lifting
he's doing, the weightlifting, that man's a beast.
Yeah.
And he was gonna tipped for 2019, a Renault driver. Everyone was excited about Jarno, like, oh, what's this guy got? He had an opportunity as an academy driver, and then is he going to be able to deliver? And he did at points, but staying consistent wasn't there. So I suppose we take on board the storylines from the year before and repeat them, and maybe that's what Matt did. But also, that was new for 2020, was the quali show, which I thought was a brilliant addition to be able to just have more racing, basically, where you've got, Q1, Q2, Q3. And I thought that was a really, really good addition to the show. And it was nice to actually be asked in as a guest. So I got to say more about the drivers that I appreciate and respect what they do. Because during a live show, there is no time, George. It is click, click, click. Let's keep moving. Let's get to the action, So I don't get to say some of the things that I've noticed online, or, whether it's Lucas Blakely putting out a tweet, he's saying, I wasn't up to speed today. I didn't deliver. I know there's more in the tank. I'm able to say, I appreciate him tweeting that, because now I want him to succeed, and I want everyone watching to be able to get behind someone who might be struggling a little bit, etc. That's just one driver. That was an example. And Yeah, so I like the addition of the quali show this year.
Yeah, no, I think it's great because it does, like you say, build storylines, and I think Formula One's always been about storylines. You look at the acclaimed, James Hunt and Niki Lauda battling and all that. That you can watch that Ron Howard's brilliant cinematic of Rush, which I think is a great film, and you can watch that. Have you seen that yourself?
Do you know it's on the list? It's on the list. I'm quite tight when it comes to actually paying for anything. So, but I will. But there's so many good racing films out there. But yeah, it's an iconic storyline, and to see it, I haven't seen it yet, but I will do.
Well worth watching. It's brilliant, and we can create those similar storylines just through, like you say, using your quali show. For example, you can sort of turn around and say, well, Lucas Blakely, like you said, didn't feel like he gave it 100% in the race last time out. Maybe he can do it again this time in qualifying. Just little things like that creates, sympathizers. Maybe some people will maybe be negative against some other people, but it's not personal. It's just a case, people want certain people to win and things like that. It builds more tension, builds stories, makes drama, and that's what makes people want to watch as well, which is really
and it's
key.
The personalities, George. It's the personalities
Absolutely.
that come through. And the fact that from day one, I remember in the draft the year before, Simon Weigang got selected and by Renault, and I was just like, I like Simon because I'd met him the year before in 2018 when we went to Silverstone, and
he's a great character. Great character, he is. He's
brilliant.
Yeah,
like I just love his German deadpan. Like he just says what he thinks, and you're just like. Yeah, like sometimes PR people will be like, "Where's the filter on this?" But I'm like, "No, I like that about him." And people won't get to see that. So, say you're an average viewer and you just tune in to watch the actual live races, then you don't find out much about the drivers. So, I think the quali show allowed that, and the fact that I was like, "I'm Team Haas this year." Cedric Tomei, let's have it. Simon Weigang, let's have it. Flores Valles, let's go. Come on, Haas, do not finish bottom this year. Allowed people to understand that, Haas have finished bottom every time. Okay, I'll root for them. So the underdog and those stories. So that's what I get passionate about, and I don't always think it comes across, but I'm genuinely rooting for the drivers that I think deserve a bit more exposure in some respects.
Yeah, and of course Cedric Tomei and Simon Weigang are both Comrade Gaming drivers as well, so they're part of CRG as well as me. So I obviously have a little bit of support towards Simon and Cedric as well. We had them recently. Yeah, absolutely, company man all the way. Go Comrades, guys. But yeah, literally, the last podcast we did, we had Cedric and Simon on, and they really lifted the lid on what was a very, very strange season for them. And it was almost like if you were stuck in that midfield battle, like it was really tough to get out of it, because of course you've got DRS trains right through those races, and you've got to be brave enough to sort of be the one that steps out of it and tries to make a move, and that can either make or break a race, can't it? And just how that's how tough it is.
That word tough doesn't, I think, explain enough about what it's like when you got the quali show and it's thousands of seconds as a difference between these drivers. Like, you have got to be at your absolute peak just to qualify in a position to give yourself a strong chance to not be in that train. And Simon, like when I was like, he's made it, he's into the top 10, this is going to be fantastic, he's definitely going to be in P10 to start this race. I was buzzing for him, and then anything can happen when all the lights go out and it's time to race. You're kind of like, oh, this is going to be so frustrating if there's wing damage, if there's this, or exceeding track limits, etc. I think that's the tension, and that you can't be just average when you turn up. You have to be at your optimum level,
on the ball.
And that's what it shows. It's so hard. And then also a team like Haas, do they have the same resources in like real life F1? Do they have the same resources as the Ferrari FDA guys? I'd say no. So you're kind of at an advantage, and that's what we kind of hate but also love, because there's more of a storyline. When they do well, they should be applauded more, I guess, in some respects.
Yeah, and you look at, like, going back to what you were saying, that different teams tend to favour it slightly more than others. I think if you look at what Red Bull have done, they've got a lot of support, I think, from G2 esports as well, and they've built this entire purpose-built facility where they can train their drivers to do esports. Renault have got a similar thing as well. I know that Sauber, I speak with the Sauber boys quite a lot, and JD has always been very vocal of how important it is to keep their drivers up to speed and in check and all that. They go through such relentless programs that try and keep them fit. And I even look, I think it was the Renault Vitality team, and it doesn't just stop at the sim rig. They're out there they're in the gym. I think we all saw footage with Brendan Lee as well, and his dramatic change since, from the first time he won the championship into 2018, he was in there, and he almost looked like a total different person when he came back. He was like, wow, gone through this entire development.
I mean, because I went down to Renault to do some filming with Kimi Larson, top guy Kimi, and just the Batak machine where you've got to hit the lights as quickly as possible, and it's about your reactions and
that's right, yeah.
The things they were doing there, and just that extra advantage to help their drivers. And then obviously with Donoso and Nicolas Longuet, who I think Nicolas is great. Not only does he give me a shout out sometimes when I'm on Insta Live and what have you, he's just an all-round good guy. And he started at that Red Bull, got one opportunity because Freddie didn't want to race that race, and he just proved he got himself a podium, how good of a driver he is. And that means when I look at the Challenger Series, I'm like, any one of these guys is going to be able to maybe do a David Tonitza, a Danny Moreno opportunity, but they are going to need that help. They are going to need, it's not as if they don't have the motivation. They want to be successful. They want to be winners. But it is those fine margins are gained by the extra training, the facilities, and that can be the difference. And are Red Bull going to be broken this coming season? When you've got Freddie Rasmussen and Marcel Kiefer, you're like, that's going to be tough. And then you look at Mercedes and you're like, oh, but Jarno Watmir is there. And then you've got Danny Moreno. That's an opportunity. But then again, Ferrari have just gone all out. They've got 2 world champs. I can't wait for it. And that's what I love. And I'm getting excited just at the thought of it.
Oh, no, I mean, I agree. I think you look at it now and it's probably going to be the most... I think the most explosive season we've seen in F1 esports, because you look at it now, like you say, 2 former world champions, 3 titles between them at Ferrari, incredible. Red Bull, who I think unfairly go unnoticed, I think a lot of the time by the public, because they have effectively won the Constructors' Championship. There was so many times running, but people just seem, I think, to look at the Drivers' Champion. But if I'm not mistaken, the team championship is where the money's at anyway. That's the one the teams want at the end of the day. So you've got to give Rasmussen and Kiefer credit for what they've done, and obviously Longuet as well, because he was involved in Red Bull a season ago. But look at it now. You've got such a varied amount of juggernauts in each big team. Mercedes, they're obviously flexing their muscles, aren't they? Danny Moreno and Jarno Watmir, the Flying Dutchman and the machine Danny Moreno. You can't get much better than that.
No, you can't. And I think there's so many things that as F1 fans or motorsport fans in general, that storyline means, just to go back to a point, that Haas are up against it. Like the Williams team, Javier Guerrera, their team manager is such a top guy. But is the money, are they going to implement that money to help these guys to be able to compete with Mercedes and Ferrari? And if the answer is no, then you're just nothing will change. But they need to win the team championship or be higher up to get more money to help them out for the following season. It's kind of a cycle, a revolving door that basically you can't just throw money at the problem. But it is a brilliant storyline for, like you say, these juggernauts that are going to sign up for that team, and they better start delivering next year. And what happens to Danny Berezny? Who's going to join him at Alfa Romeo? Someone good, someone from the Challenger Series, and I don't know. It's mad. And then Jarno Watmir, can we say from that storyline that TRL Limitless, James Doherty, what he was able to get out of Jarno, will that mean that Jarno takes a step back at Mercedes, or those are those brilliant storylines that will come out year after year?
Yeah, and it's like we go back to saying, just like the real Formula One, the politics is exactly the same, folks. Honest to God, and it's we love it. That's why we love it. At the end of the day, we just can't get over it. But obviously, I want to look towards this season further. I mean, obviously, there's so much to talk about. Like we said, we talked about the three major teams. Like we said, we've got the new qualifying system now. Have you got any predictions yourself that things that you expect, or is it just simply that no one can expect anything at this moment in time? Is it just literally a case of we're gonna have to suck it and see?
Yeah, I imagine F1 will want to do something, implement something new. They were very vocal about bringing back the virtual Grand Prix, which are different from last year because we were just in the beginning of a lockdown, and you had more, I guess, celebrity personalities racing in those races. Whereas this time round, it's more of the F2, F3 drivers getting an opportunity to go out there, because some of the F1 drivers are busy with their testing, like Charles Leclerc is unfortunately able not to take part. So I think F1 will try and do whatever they can just to spice things up again. But in terms of anything that's been told to me, no, nothing changes, George. It's
No.
I haven't even been sent a contract. So will I be back? That was it. Sean Bratches, after 2019, he said to me live on air, well, we haven't even decided if we're bringing you back yet next year. So that was a mic drop moment. Very funny guy. So we'll have to see. The big question will be: will it be remotely put together, or will we be allowed back in the studio with all the
Yeah.
drivers? I would love that to happen, as long as it can happen safely. So, but I think anything like going to Abu Dhabi isn't going to happen again. That was a one-off. Let's make a big statement. Which, I mean, I'm annoyed because it was such fun to travel out there, and that's where the bromance with Matt Gallagher started, and love him to bits. So, yeah, I think it will be same as usual. Prize money going up again, and potentially maybe a new team championship winner who can beat Red Bull. That would be my prediction at the moment.
Yeah, well, I think you can certainly see the intention of Mercedes is very, very clear, and obviously I think Ferrari the same as well. They've gone for the previous and proven champions route, So we'll obviously see how that unfolds, of course. I mean, obviously, now we look at the virtual GP tonight, and I understand that you were donning the threads this morning. Are you still donning those threads now?
No, Tom? Do you know what happened? I was wearing my F1 Esports Pro Series t-shirt. Now I've changed it because that one stank. Because I don't know if anyone else on lockdown. I wake up, what did my girlfriend say to me the other day? She says, sorry, did you not wear that yesterday? And I'm like, yeah, and she pointed me. She's like, change it, have a little bit of decorum, up yourself. So I have put new fresh clothes on for tonight's virtual Grand Prix. And looking at the lineup, because it's changed again in a few areas. It's good to see Jimmy and Team McMurdoch are racing again for McLaren. That's good, a bit of consistency. But I'm glad to see Tia Mousson is actually racing, the first female racer for the virtual Grand Prix, which is very exciting. And I wish her a lot of luck for this. And knowing that prize money is going to charity as well. So that's a little twist from last time round.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant to have the virtual GP back as well, and it's great because it brings a shed load of stars, the likes of Thibaut Courtois, footballing legend as well. Well, he's currently playing for Real Madrid, of course. Los Blancos, as they like to call him. But incredible to have him part of it as well. And he loves it so much, because I'm fully aware of Thibaut's enjoyment of sim rigs, and he's got this purpose-built sim rig as well, which is tremendous to look at. A huge bit of kit, and it just goes to show that everyone can enjoy the virtual GPs, no matter who you are.
Yeah, and Sergio Aguero last year joined, and Immobile, the striker for Lazio, joined as well. And I was just like, this is incredible. The goalkeeper for Milan was there. It's a long surname. I tried to avoid pronouncing it on the day, and I won't make a fool of myself now. But all these exciting, even Stuart Broad, Ben Stokes joined, and Ian Poulter, big fan of Ian's, and there was that passion. So, but I think this time round the competition should be a little bit more competitive. I think is my being very political, sort of unbiased on that. I think it will be better quality going into it. But then there were still problems with servers and internet. Ant Davidson was actually jagging on the screen left, right, and center.
Was that not just him driving or not?
Yeah, I was like, what button pressing to do that? That's epic.
Yeah.
But I think the quality should go up. But let's not forget, it is for fun and it's for charity. And sometimes I forget that when we're doing the live show, I want it to go perfectly. I want there to be no problems. I don't want to have to fill for 20 minutes while there's an issue with getting everybody on the server. Those are the things that I start panicking. I hear the production in my ear going, just fill, Tom. And I'm like, brilliant. Can't wait. So I want it to go really well. I want people to enjoy it. Is it a perfect product? I'll be honest and say, no, it's not quite. But that's not, and it's not like it's a league race. It's not like it's the F1 Esports Pro Series. It doesn't really matter. The amount of penalties last Sunday, it's laughable, but we're all having fun, and that's kind of the process of it, and it's all for a good cause. So yeah, we know what it is. And I can't wait for the F1 Esports Pro Series to come back. And what is brilliant is the sprint race beforehand. So you do get to see some of those pro drivers step up.
No, it's brilliant. And yeah, like you say, I mean, it's a shame. I think Nicholas Longe, unfortunately, has had to step out because I think he's had net problems. So he's out of it as well. So again, we've unfortunately thrown water on that bonfire, unfortunately.
Well, who's going to come in then?
That's the question.
Is it Renault?
Yeah, it could be. Who's going to come in? Answers in the live chat if you know who it is. But yeah, no, tremendous. And we're obviously going to look forward to the virtual GP. I want to touch as well on your love of football as well, because you spoke about the Copa 90 and Saints. Obviously, the form hasn't been too great for Southampton.
Don't do it, George. Don't do it.
Don't
hurt me.
99999. I'm going to German too.
I had to do a podcast yesterday for the Saints Delivery, a brilliant podcast after the Newcastle game, and a drink was in hand and trying to get through that chat. It's not a brilliant time. Oddly enough, I used to work for the Saints. I used to do the halftime announcements, be on pitch, which was like, it's my club. I love them, and to get to work, we feel like if you love F1, you're getting close enough to work in something you love. You're just like, oh, how do I stick and how do I keep this job? I was kind of like that with the Saints, but now there's no fans in the stadium, not able to do that. But yeah, big football fan. As you mentioned, I got a job with Copa 90 where I traveled around watching Champions League football, supporting the home team. I saw Dortmund play, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Los Blancos, the Roji Blancos, the Atleti, saw them play. Amazing job. And I did have to pinch myself a few times and say, how did you manage to get this job? And it was brilliant. And genuinely, if it was to come back, Copa 90 were to call me up and go, hey, Tom, do you want to do the Eurofan? My bag's already packed. I'm ready to go. And that's how much I love football.
Yeah, no, it's tremendous sport. I remember growing up and I'd be watching Match of the Day. You'd have the greats like Matt Letitia, just names like that. Of course, Alan Shearer growing up and Michael Owen, and that was a beautiful time to be a football fan, wasn't it? The 90s going into the millennium. I pinch myself dreaming, and even looking at Wayne Rooney's wonder strike against Arsenal when he made his debut. I could be proud to say I was alive when that happened. And yeah, tremendous. I mean, unfortunately, I'm a Newport County fan, so we haven't quite touched the Premier League side of things just yet. Watch this space. I'm sure Mikey Flynn will get us there.
but that's the beauty of it. It is just whatever you that's your team and you follow them. So you live and breathe the ups and downs. Southampton lost 9-0 against United last week. It's laughable. We lost 9-0 the year before against Leicester. But I truly, absolutely adore Ralph Hasenhüttl, our manager, our Austrian manager, and I've interviewed him before, I think several times. And top guy. I believe in what they're doing. So it's 2 losses on the back, well 5 actually on the bounce. Why did I bring that up? But it will turn around. And the thing I loved about Copa 90 and traveling was meeting other fans, and it was put on YouTube, and it felt like it connected other football fans around the world. And there's no greater feeling, not as a kind of I was going to say boastful way, but it's not. I was the Euro fan. I turn up to a game in Germany. The following week, I'll be at PSG, and people would recognize me and go, you as a Euro fan, get a picture. And you're like, yes. That was my French impression, not German. And you'd have a picture with them, and then you realize that everyone's connected, that community, and your team can either be on top or suffering, but you're all connected by football fans. And that's what I love about the F1 fans, the people that you're talking to on your channel all the time. And that's something that I kind of miss sometimes, is connecting with people over football. But I'm sure it will come back at some point.
No, it's a universal language, though, isn't it, Tom? It just goes to say, football is the sport that everyone can unite under, and I think we've seen it over the years. Certainly, even post-war, when you go back then, you're still having the old football games, England v Germany, the things such as that. It always seems to build bridges, which I think is great, and that's the beauty of sport. And that's what I love about it.
It is a beautiful sport. However, I still feel like I need to apologise to Thierry Henry.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Thierry Henry. You were talking about goals. His turn at Highbury and just burying it past Fabien Barthez in goal for United. Oh, what a wonder strike.
Oh, yeah.
I went to America with Copper 90 to do the MLS All-Stars signature hunt. I think that was what it was called. And the idea is they had a team from the rest of the world go and play them, and it was AS Roma actually that were playing them. It was an all-star. So imagine like the Premier League chooses the best team via fan votes, and then they play against a European side, which sounds incredible. I'd love to see that one day. But I managed to annoy him because we went to the hotel. Tim Cahill, Thierry Henry sat down, and we wanted to film with those guys. So my camera guy, Benty, was just filming in a hotel lobby, Thierry Henry and Tim Cahill. Tim Cahill noticed. I went over with the shirt to ask them to sign it. And I was not, Timmy Cahill was a little bit threatening, but he was not a fan of me, nor was Thierry Henry. Then it got made into a bit of a news story in Kansas where we were, because I was being filmed by the local media. And Thierry Henry, I said, Thierry, could you sign my shirt? He's like, no. And you know why? Like, he remembered me. And that was the whole series. So I did meet him 2 years ago, and didn't bring it up to apologize. But he didn't remember me annoying him. So I guess there's a silver lining there. But those are the sort of things we did at Copper 90. And I didn't mean to annoy one of the guys that I looked up to. Like, he was a magician on the football field.
Majestic.
But hey, it was great content. So, I suppose I won.
And a great story to tell as well, in a way. Even though you
I'm not proud of it though.
Yeah, no, even though you ended up on the wrong side of it. Yeah, but no, he was an incredible player on the football pitch. I enjoyed many years watching Premier League games, and you'd see Thierry Henry scoring goals after goals, and incredible man indeed. Yeah. But we're getting to the point now of viewers' questions. We've now got about 10 minutes left to go before the end of the podcast, so we're now going to head over. So if you've got any questions at all, folks, please do fire them in the live chat, and I'll do my best to read them out for you. I'm sure they'll respond now very shortly as soon as my thing becomes live.
I've got a question for you, George.
Okay. Radio.
Right.
Fire away, Tom.
The trophy closest to you, behind your head.
Yes.
What did you win that for?
That one there, the gold cup one, or is it?
Yeah, the one closest to you. Yeah, the biggest one that I'm seeing.
Yeah, that one is a darts trophy. I was a league champion for darts. That was back in.
Talking about.
When was that? I was like 2008. That was wow. Yeah, that was all the way back then. So yeah, that's that. And there's some football trophies over there. I think there's a few 180 medals as well for most 180s in a season. So yeah, that was that's another thing.
That means you're actually good. I had a dartboard on my wall growing up, and I never hit a 180. Still haven't. One day I will. That's on my bucket list as well.
I haven't hit the famed 9 dart finish yet. I'm working on that. I got close the other day. I hit 3 180s in a string the other day, which. One of the guys in the Comrade Gaming chat turned around to me and said, "Why didn't you go for the 9 darter?" And I just said, "I just hit 180s." I was like, "What is this?" So yeah, just didn't think about it. But already we have a question in from Cedric Tomei.
Hello, Cedric. My main man.
Yeah, there you go. So he wants to know, where will Haas finish in the Pro Series in 2021?
My first question back to Cedric is: A, are you driving for them? Where will they finish? I think, look, you have to look at any team has to look on progressing and moving upwards. They achieved that this year. So maybe they can finish 7th, maybe 8th, I think they'll move up one place depending on who's driving. So Cedric, sign that contract, get it sorted. Thank you.
Absolutely. You heard him there, Cedric. You heard him there first. Let's have a look as well. We've got another question from Lewis Welch. Will Tom, Nicholas, and Matt do a virtual GP? As in, I take it, will you be driving anytime soon?
Well, listen, guys, I will happily drive the safety car if needed. I will zip round on that. Matt Gallagher really wants to do it, but also doesn't want to do it because he feels like he doesn't want to embarrass himself. He needs to get up to speed. So very unlikely it will happen. There is actually a rig still in the studio, but I feel he's got to commentate as well. And I think Alex Jakes will want him to commentate. But personally, I'd love to see you there, George, at some point.
Well, maybe I will if I get the right invite.
Yeah, we used to have obviously Jack Nichols and Davide Vasecchi. I love Davide, a real top guy. But I also think the inclusion of Alex Jakes has been fantastic. And what's nice about this team now, not to say that it wasn't before. Let me be careful what I say. But Matt Gallagher, myself, Natalie Pinkham, and Alex, it's just a brilliant team for the virtual Grand Prix. And then you add in Nick Hamilton. Just the banter that we had before the F1 Esports Pro Series was phenomenal. So I feel like no to that question. It's not going to happen for us driving. No. But I am genuinely loving the dynamic that is in the studio when we go to do the virtual Grand Prix. Sadly, Nick isn't with us for these, but he will be back hopefully for the F1 Esports Pro Series. I think he's doing the V10 League for BT as well with Rachel Stringer. So actually, it's so important to have a good dynamic around.
Yeah, no, Nicholas is a great presenter, of course. You know, we got to see him as well in the Pro Series last season. Of course, he brings in almost like he brings a racer's concept to it as well, because he raced in touring car, didn't he? Of course, so he's familiar with all of that, and of course, his brother Lewis is a 7-time world champion, essentially. So,
heard of him.
You know, I think I think I know who he is.
But after that, he won the title. You know, Lewis won 7th title. It was just incredible. It was so nice to be able to talk to Nick a day or two afterwards and go, Nick, I'd love to know your thoughts. Natty was able to give hers. These are two well-established people that I get to chat to. You got Alex as well with his career, and Matt's as well. It's such a nice team dynamic. Would I like to see some other people join? I think I would, as long as I don't lose my place. I think that's the most important financially, and also for my excitement and enjoyment in life. I don't want to lose my place just yet. But hey, if it improves F1 Esports Pro Series in general, then I think that you have to keep changing things every now and again to keep it fresh.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a plucky young Welshman here who's up for doing it. If there's anyone watching, well, we didn't put 9 past Southampton. You can't blame us.
That hurts.
Oh dear. Right, let's have a look at this. Comrade Gaming have just said unsafety car, so I'm not sure what they mean by that, Tom. Let's have a look. Will Ajax win the Europa League? And that's coming from CRG Matthias. Mattis is in fact a Sauber Academy driver for Sauber Esports. So he's asking, will Ajax win the Europa League? Or I'm guessing he says Europe. He's got Europe League, but I think that's Europa League.
Yeah, the Dutch league, I think you've got definitely a strong chance. I went to Ajax to watch them play with KSI as my buddy for the day, which is a weird experience. And we watched them win. I went to the Ajax Museum. Amsterdam is a very cool place. I've been there several times to do comedy and what have you. In terms of them in Europe, there's no reason why they couldn't. I think they were still shocked after Tottenham. I think it took a while for them to bounce back after that. But Dusan Tadic, ex-Saints player, rate him very highly. I think they've got a brilliant academy. Why not? I feel like a very strong Ajax team right now. So yeah,
I got a lot of love for Tadic. He's been the centre point for various clubs of mine on Football Manager. Honestly, I think he's brilliant. Are you a Football Manager player yourself, Tom?
Here's the thing. I watched you with Arsenal. I watched that series. You were moving along. You were managing on Football Manager. You took a little.
Did you actually watch that?
Yeah,
unbelievable.
And I'll tell you where I was. I was at Winchester Services, and I thought I'm driving down here, and I thought, hello, I'll just stop off, have a little break. Oh, what's George up to? Right. Let's watch him on his Football Manager. And then I watched you with the tactics for ages, and I was like, I got to stop now. I've actually got to drive, so put that away. I think championship manager was my thing.
Yeah.
2001, 2002 season, I think was incredible. To Madeira, some Portuguese striker that was like the bomb. He was amazing. I love it. I think the new football managers, like, I just don't have that time in my life.
Got a lot of patience. You gotta have a lot of patience in you for it. It frustrates me terribly sometimes, just to say.
So like The Last of Us 2, I completed that last year. That took up a lot of my time. Then I moved on to a bit of Grand Theft Auto. Then I moved on to Assassin's Creed Odyssey. 125 hours I've buried into that, and I thought, I can't do this anymore. I just want a bit of football in my life. So I started up a career mode with, I don't know why I'm telling people this, Notts County. Yeah. And that is infuriating in League Two.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is painful because the players aren't good. But there is that essence where I love being the manager, changing things up. And Football Manager is brilliant. I even got it on my mobile last year and played a little bit. I took on Exeter from the university days, and you've just got to bury a lot of hours into it, and the highs and lows. And it also ruins my day. It ruins my day. We got a pandemic, and now I'm walking around going, oh, we lost 4-1. I'm livid. Why did I change to a diamond formation? I can't deal with that in my life, George.
Yeah, no, you can't. No, it's tough. I mean, to be honest with you, I rarely find time to play the game these days. You know, at the moment, I'd love to do more series. I was a big fan of Dr. Benji and stuff he does, and I thought I'd love to do something like that. So I thought I'd give it a go. I've no way got the time commitment that he has to do something like that. You know, sim commentary takes over, and real life responsibilities as well, of course. But yeah, crazy. I just want to have a look now. Have we got anything else that needs answering? We've got Vasta Racer, VSR Vasta Racer, part of Assyria Esports. Is Mercedes now the team to beat on Deacon?
I think it's hard to tell. I feel like Mercedes were finding it disappointing at times for the last 2 seasons. Bono Huis, and they had Badia Boromon, who's, I think, is a very exciting driver. I really want to see him.
I was going to talk to you about him because he looks like a huge talent, and I've been watching because he's taking part in PSGL this season. He's won 2 races on the bounce. He beat Jan Watmir in race 1 to bring home the full first place points. And he just recently beat, albeit Danny Moreno had some issues with the server, you know, in the second race, and he had to start from the back. But Barry winning the second race as well, he looks like an incredible talent, I've got to say.
Yeah. Well, it was the Pro Exhibition last year. You're like, who's this guy? I like this guy. I was chatting to him online as well, and just saying, look, top guy. And even wished me happy birthday last week. Do you know what I mean?
Aww,
so top guy.
King.
I rate him. All round, he's brilliant. But getting that opportunity to show what you can do. And I think last season he got an opportunity when Bono Huis had to pull out because of he was ill, unfortunately. So Badia stepped in. But, you know, was he kind of match fit? Was he ready to go? I don't know. But I think he is a real talent. And it like with Nicholas Longe, you can produce with Jano Otmid in the right situation and with the right support. You know, the world's his oyster, to use an annoying phrase, but it genuinely is. The question you asked about Mercedes, I think Danny Moreno proved on his debut season how good he is. Jano obviously won the title, so well done to him. New setup, new team. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for them to gel together, work as that one and two punch. So no, I still think it's Red Bull. And now with Brendan Lee, we know how committed he is, and David Tanitsa as well. I think Ferrari are the team to beat going into next season.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be it looks like it's going to be a square off between all 3 of them, and I got to say, I don't think we can wait for that. It's going to be absolutely incredible. But I believe we have now hit 2:00. So it's that's it now. But Tom, I want to thank you ever so much, mate, from the bottom of my heart, for joining me on the Comrade Gaming channel. It's been a real thrill, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. Just the stories have been so enjoyable to listen to, the knowledge, and obviously it's great to hear you back doing more Pro Series for next season as well. And obviously look forward to the virtual GP tonight. It's going to be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think I am. Well, I appreciate everything you just said, George. It's an absolute pleasure. This community, we all love it. So it's great to meet up and do this. I don't know if I'm going to get the contract actually for 2021, but let's keep our fingers crossed. And if not, I tell you what, I'll put in a good word. You can host it as instead, George. If I don't get it, only you can do it in my place. All right?
Oh wow, that's a huge. That's touching. Thank you so much. But well, you never know what the future holds, guys. But if you would please leave a like and a subscribe, folks, that would be really, really cool. Also, check out Tom Deacon. You can see his Twitter tag down below, Tom H Deacon. Be sure to check him out. He's doing lots of great things in the world of esports, and not only that, the Copper 90 football. If you're a football fan, check him out as well. You can also tweet me at CRGGO. Be sure to do that, and we'll be able to stay up to date with all the latest and greatest content. And but thank you ever so much, everybody. Tom, finally, big thank you to you. Everybody, take care. Pedal to the metal. Go, go, go. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.